That a new government is in the play. A new government has taken up the country, Trinidad and Tobago, and they would like to have all hands on deck with them. They want, when they have a contract, how they have people working in certain, maybe certain enterprises, and they are doing what they want, thinking that, they're going to get away scot-free. That is not so. We are seeing the Minister of Public Utilities, right? We are seeing the minister in the ministry, the PM office. We are seeing all those ministers, they are taking a frontline role. They are taking a frontline seat, if you want to call it that, and they are moving from nook and corners of Trinidad and Tobago, trying to identify the problems and the challenges that those communities are plagued with, and they are rectifying. Because I have seen Miss Jolene John, minister there. She is doing a lot of work. I'm seeing Khadija Amin, minister there again, doing a lot of work. I'm seeing Minister Ravi Ratiram doing a lot of work. I'm seeing all those ministers coming forward, and we have not seen that in the past, where ministers would have been on the ground. They have been on the ground communicating, liaising, identifying, and trying to rectify these types of problems that has plagued the country for too long.
To Felicity Banquet Hall, where unforgettable memories are made, whether you're planning a wedding, birthday party, corporate meeting, or any special gathering. Why choose us? We are spacious, elegant, and fully air-conditioned hall. Customizable seating for up to 200 guests. Beautiful decor and lighting options. On-site kitchen and catering services. We are available 7 days a week. Located at Rashid Avenue, Kakandi Road, Felicity Shogunas. Call the number on the screen today and book now.
Okay, my friends, a pleasant good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Those of you who are locked on, those of you who have been anticipating our program Hardfacts, that is aired Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, starting time 12:15 in the afternoon. My friends, I want to welcome you to our program today. Today we have a bumper program. Really and truly, we have lots and lots and lots of things to discuss. So I'm giving you the opportunity to mount the platform. This is a platform that has been created for you, the citizens of our country. Those of you who are being affected, whether it is by our daily routine, whether you go to the hospitals, whether you go to the police stations, whether you go to a private or public sector, maybe you go to some places and you were treated well and you would like to highlight it, feel free to call me. I am Imam Rashid Karim, and this program is Hardfacts, where it is on Sentinel Media Broadcasting. Those of you who are locked on, please share our link so that people outside there, around the country, around the world, as a matter of fact, could really and truly be entertained by our program, Hardfacts. So again, Trinidad and Tobago, welcome to our program. And you know, I've been speaking to lots of people on the ground. A lot of people are asking basically one question. And people in the business community, in the private sector, people, basically everybody in our country who are concerned, who are patriotic in the real sense of the words, my friends, they are really and truly anticipating and waiting for the budget to be read. And that is something that really and truly will identify, you know, our future movements, whether we are going to be successful for the coming year, because basically if the gas price increases and maybe minimum wage is increased, nothing is wrong with those things. I'm telling you this, Trinidad and Tobago. But you have to understand that there is other investments that has to really and truly work with the system. Because let me just give you an example before we really dive into the program. Because today we're going to talk about the Dragon gas deal. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about the traffic wardens. Because there's one video that is trending at this point in time. And I'll tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago, we have to be very, very mindful. We have to understand what is going place. Not because you see a video and you jump to conclusion. No. We're going to dissect that video and we're going to talk about it. And we ask you all to join us on this program, Hardfacts. Those of you who are locked on, and if you are calling the program, I just want to give you some small bits of information. We are not here to malign any political party or any political leader, whether it be the opposition or whether it be persons in government. We are not here for that. We have better things to discuss. We have better things to do than to come here and waste time, you know, with this kind of mamagai talk and, you know, this kind of belittling and bringing down people. No, we're not going to go down that road. There are things that we could discuss that can make a difference in our everyday routine. And that is what this program is all about, trying to make that change. Because if you make that change, you know, like many philosophers have mentioned that, you know, you have to make the change that you want to see happening. You can't only be criticizing and expect because of your criticism, everything is going to change. All hands on deck. That is what we are saying. And that is the reason why 2 weeks ago, I identified who is a patriot. Who is a patriot? A patriot is a person not for political party alone. Yes, nothing wrong. You have to use that as a vehicle, right? But again, a patriot is for the country, a person for country, a person for building. Because you know something, when you Google on social media and you Google on networks, different networks, and you ask, you know, about Trinidad and Tobago political scenario, you know what is going to the findings that is going to be shared to you would be this. The United National Congress is an East Indian-based party, and the PNM. This is what is being shared there. That is the information that is being shared on the global media, on these different sites that you Google, right? Whether it be ChatGPT or whoever, wherever you go, you're going to find the same thing. My friends, you're going to find that is the scenario that comes out maybe from the AI, from the artificial intelligence that you and I today we are working with. And really and truly, sometimes it might be positive, it might be correct, but again, you have to understand that that is something that is generated. It is not really and truly the down-to-earth feelings of our country and our people. PNM is not an African party. The UNC is not an Indian party. So let us get our act together, because basically when the parties go, and whether you contest an election and you won the election, you have to serve the party. This is what really and truly was one of the winning factor for the United National Congress, where they stipulated and stated that here what, when the United National Congress win, everybody win. But people are saying outside that we're not seeing that happening. But I tell you all, government is young. Government is young. Government is in teething stage. You have to wait a bit. You have to understand this. Nothing, a home is not built overnight. You have to build foundation, you have to build structure, you have to put luxury items inside, you have to cover the, whatever, this is an example I'm bringing to you. So again, my friends, Trinidad and Tobago, we have a lot of things that we want to discuss. Basically, number one, you see that dragon gas issue, a lot of people don't know what really and truly is meant by that dragon gas issue. I want to read something for you all today so that those of you who are locked on, maybe you could understand carefully what the dragon gas is all about. Very, very important. Right? I'll give you a kind of overview on it so that you'll be able to understand clearly, what is that? What is that? Everybody's talking about that. That is on the front burner at this point in time. That is on the front line. I'm just giving you a breakdown. Here's the breakdown. The dragon gas deal between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. What it is, number one. That's question number one. How does it work? Number two. Its status quo and some of the open issues that needs to be in the broad spectrum of the minds of the citizens of this country. A lot of people say, yes, the dragon gas is something that will work for us. Yes, the bottom line question is who is going to benefit from it? Bottom line, and people have to know that, and we have to have a government who is caring, who is willing to share that kind of information. Because here what is the dragon gas deal? The dragon gas deal or the dragon gas field is an offshore natural gas field located in Venezuelan water. That's number one. Venezuelan water close to Trinidad and Tobago. Now listen carefully. When you look and see how some of the ministers in government, right? How some of the ministers in government are really and truly conducting their communication skills. Come back to me, Director. Their communication skills when it comes to the dragon gas. How can you debase? How can you debase a government and a country, and then afterwards you want to go back there and work with them? I mean, what is really and truly happening in this region? Trinidad and Tobago is part of the CARICOM, yes. But when you look at what is happening, number one, you can't debase, as I said before, you can't debase the Venezuelan government and expect them to come open-handed and welcome you and gravitate to you after what is being bandied around in social media by certain ministers in the present government. How can you do that? How can you, in one hand, your right hand, you are slapping the faces of someone, and in the left hand you are pacifying and you are rubbing, and you expect them to forgive you the same way? No, my friends, that is the reason why, I always tell Trinidad and Tobago this. We have to be very, very mindful how we approach things, how we talk to things. Never dam the bridge that you cross, because one day you have to cross it back. And we don't think like that. We don't think like that. Let me just continue. Let me continue. Trinidad and Tobago Gas Company at the NGC and Shell are partnering. They are partnering with the Venezuelan state, the state oil company, that is PDVSA. That is involved. Like 3 parties involved. Huh? So when you talk about gas company and thing, and here we have another entity in the play, and that is we'll come to that just now. We come to that OFAC. That's the OFAC. That's a very, very important office. The field is estimated, and this is the dragon gas field we are talking about. It is estimated to hold about 4.2 trillion cubic feet of gas, natural gas. Right? That is basically what we are going to maybe benefit from the long term. From the long term, whether it be investment, because basically Trinidad and Tobago, at this point in time, all those lines and drilling machineries and apparatus and all those things that has to be really and truly be part and parcel of the refining process of that natural gas, Trinidad and Tobago. You have to understand this. You have to understand this, that this company, Shell, they will be investing heavily. And in some cases, mere percentage is going to come to Trinidad and Tobago. Because when it has to be divided, and I tell you something, there's a lot of things that many people doesn't know. In December 2023, Venezuela grant a 30-year exploration and production license to NGC and the Shell to develop dragon gas. So this basically is telling you here, in 2023, that is when the PNM was in government, that license was granted. Now the OFAC, that is the U.S. Treasury Office of Foreign Asset Control, issued a waiver license which allows Trinidad and Tobago to work on the dragon gas project despite the U.S. sanctions on Venezuela. Now tell us something, I can't really and truly understand what and how, this world is really and truly revolving and turning. Because in one breath you're saying, I love you, and in another breath you're saying, I hate you, and in the third breath you're saying that I will kill you. That is what is taking place. You have to be very, very careful. Today, as a citizen of our country, we have to be well informed. Just don't take, the words that coming out of whether it be ministers or whether it be opposition or whether it be activists or whether it be people of maybe of high caliber when it comes to the refinery and the petroleum industry. Do not take those things for face value, because bottom line is when we look at the budget that is going to be read, right? What is going to happen? What is going to happen? Knowing for a fact that there is little or no finance, because basically when PNM went into office, they said that the United National Congress, they raped the treasury. That was the exact word that they said. And they got through for 10 years lamenting and crying that same wolf, the same situation, or the United National Congress, they raped the treasury, they stole everything, and they leave us in a crisis that we can't pay salary and we don't have money to run the country and so forth. Now I tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago gears up again. We have another government in office, and basically after 10 years of pilferage and devastation and a deterioration when it comes to the economy, right? Because we know for a fact that when they say stand up is to run. As a citizen of our country, there is no loyalty. You should not have any loyalty to anyone beside people who are really and truly, when they say something, they stand by their words. And that is something that we don't see. I will tell you something. If you go into the media, you go into the social media, you're going to see people who say today, well, we love you, and tomorrow we hate you, and Wednesday we kill you, and then they come back Monday and say we love you, and they continue with that very, very sad scenario. And you and I, as citizens of our country, you know what? We accept it. Why we accept it? Because we might get a little contract. We accept it because, we might benefit from something. But if we were not benefited, we are ready to fight. We are ready to fight. Let me give you an example. That breakfast shed issue is an issue that is a private issue. The government cannot take the burden of that. And everybody outside here should know that is a private entity. Everybody knows that. The government of the day facilitated, they built that structure, exorbitantly costing. They put things, infrastructure in place. And if they tell you here, what, $5,000 a month. They tell you, TNTech, right? I can't understand this. When you owe TNTech, you owe TNTech $200, right? They come and they cut you off, and then you have to pay a reconnection fee of $165 to $200 again to reconnect. They do that. Why it is that the breakfast shed, the people who are in charge of that entity, you all know that they didn't pay for 5 months or 3 months, and they didn't have a legitimate excuse. Why didn't you all take it and give it to somebody else so that somebody else could run it and they could pay the rent? Why can't you do that? But you know something, again, when you are dealing with politics, and my party in power, then we are here to stay for 10 years. We're going to eat, we're going to drink, we're going to do everything possible. And you know what, my friends? Hard-working citizens like myself, and the hard-working business community, and the hard-working citizens of our country, we have to go and pay that debts. Huh? I'll give you an example, and Trinidad and Tobago, call me 3722129. We could change the topic. If you want, and the motor rate is not 278. The motor rate is cross 278. Right, I want to say a special thank you. Director, I see callers calling, right, on that phone there. Check that line there for me. I see some people calling on the line here, and it seems as though they're trying to reach me on my number. Right, so just check back that line for me. So again, those of you who are locked, not this number, check the studio number. What is happening in Trinidad and Tobago, right? When we look at the hospital, I spoke about that last week. You talk about the hospital. The hospital was opened by the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bissessa. That's the Kuva Children Hospital. right? Why the hell, when PNM came into office, they had was to close it down? Why? Could they not function in a manner whereby they could have transferred some patients from San Fernando where there is no beds, or places like Port of Spain or Mount Hope where there were no beds? People still, in this 20th century, 2025, in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, people has to remain 3 days and 4 days to get a place to rest their heads. And when, the more time, I'll tell you something, let me give you an example. One person wait 3 days to get a bed in the hospital, and when they got the bed in the hospital, the next day they were discharged. That is Trinidad and Tobago. You hear what I just said, Trinidad and Tobago citizens? One individual remained there for 3 days in, I'm not blaming Kamala, I'm not blaming the UNC. I'm blaming the past regime, because you all had 10 years in office and you did not put things in place. And the very sad thing, if God bless me with health and strength and I'm on this show, I'm going to do the very sad thing. If 5 years pass and some of the condition that was prevailing now under the PNM could not be changed or have not been changed, then clearly indicated that you all is not worthy of power. You all are not worthy of leading the country. Simple as that. You don't just, because you have a phone and you want to say something, you just talk. No, you have to be constructive in your communication with people. Are saying they're waiting on budget. Waiting on budget for what? Waiting, so if the price of fuel goes up, right? Because one man laughed, gee. He said, I raised it 1 time, I raised it 2 times, I raised it 3 times, and they didn't react yet. Now, if by chance, I'm just saying this, if by chance the United National Congress would or should raise the price of fuel, are we going to riot now? So what is going to happen? You know what? We are going to stay quiet, and that's going to be 5 times of increase when it comes to that alone. We're talking about the status quo of the citizens of our country. What have we and what will we be benefiting by from this dragon gas deal? And those are questions that has to be debated in Parliament, and they have to really and truly, will that be a means of reduction in the price at the pumps? Or is that very said monies that is going to be generated from the dragon gas is going to be paid for debts? Because many of you might not know this, right? When you do some research on that dragon deal issue, you're going to realize that Venezuela, and there's a company called, I think, Phillips, they have a court matter going on pertaining to that very said kind of dragon gas and fuel and what have you. And matters is in court for that. So we're talking about Venezuelan government, we're talking about Trinidad and Tobago government, we're talking about OFAC, which is the American, and we're talking about the court matter that is taking place with Conisco, one of those companies. So that's going to be 4 people has to be generating certain revenues from that status, if by chance, and we would like it to pull through, because at this point in time, without that dragon gas deal, we have really and truly no hope to develop anything in the future, because that is one of our life wire. Right, so Trinidad and Tobago, those of you who are locked on, feel free to call me 372-2129. I'm going to take a short break, and when we come back, I'm going to continue. Okay, my friends, welcome back to our program Hardfacts that is aired Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, starting time 12:15 in the afternoon. We have a call on the line. Go ahead, caller.
Yes.
Go ahead, caller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Imam.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
What I want to say is we still see trouble under this government.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Imam, hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yes, and Mr. Imam was with Kamla for 14 years and helped you and everything in security work. And Mr. Imam, I get nothing from this government.
Just now, you championing my cause. Relax. Let me hear about the citizens of this country. My thing is different. I know you. It seems as though you know me well.
And the citizen is the only benefiting is the Prime Minister and the party. The four citizens have to remain there so without anything. They came to MP by way up to this day. They didn't get an appointment to talk to him.
Okay.
And I'm begging and I'm pleading. If they could hear me. It's a plenty I want to say.
All right.
But I will leave it for another day.
Okay, wait. You talk a lot of things here. You're just like it seems as you're attacking the United National Congress. Tell me something. What is your problem presently? What is your situation presently that the government can really and truly listen? I heard you talk about me being in the office for 14 years. Yes, I was there. I spoke about that many times on this station that I served the party for the past 14, 15 years. Yes, I was there. That is irrelevant. Let me hear what is your situation. What is bothering you? What is humbugging or whatever you want to call it? What is your take now on this matter?
He's calling them to talk to them to help you out with your situation, Mr. Rashid. And we cannot get no one to answer we or to assist we. When they was in power, they answered phone right through. And they're not answering a phone at all.
What area you belong to?
The village, California.
California. All right. But which office you just normally go to?
Right, Cuba. And the MP not on. You can see the MP. They give you an appointment and other people get an appointment. They answer a phone to Mr. Imam. I don't know what to say again.
All right. Okay. Here what I will do for you. Just maybe send a message with your concerns. Okay. And I could be able, maybe I'll draft a letter and send it to the person who is in charge, the minister for the area. I think is Cuba, you said?
Yes.
Cuba South or Cuba North?
Cuba South.
Okay, that would be the Honorable Barry Padarat. All right, so I will see what I can do for you. But you see, you have to understand too, right? You have to understand that the government is just about 4 months in office. Right? You won't expect them to wave a magic wand and, change everything.
I understand, but they maintain a phone in the office to give you an appointment.
So, but why you don't take a taxi and go there and wait?
If Mr. Padarat is on which side, Mr. Padarat.
I will try to get a message to him, but what I'm saying is that you know what is the situation with the government right now. There's a lot of things happening. And maybe because of that, you remember he wasn't in the country, right? Let me just, Director, that good there, that good, just hold that call. But what I'm saying is that, again, callers, now the lady seems as though she listened to the program because I've been saying this for the longest while. For the past 15 years, I've been working under the United National Congress, working for the party, under the leadership, loyal to the party. And again, beside that, I'm not begging or asking for anything. But remember, we have to believe in the truth and we have to understand one or two things here. That if you all are outside there and facing any challenges like that, you have to kind of groom yourself and wait a little bit and use the proper method and channel. You can't criticize the government just so. Right? I think that maybe she had a bad time when it comes to speaking to people in the office, because that normally happens, and that might be not in the purview of the minister himself. sometimes people, they feel that we working for a minister like Barry Padarat, who is one of the top brass in the United National Congress, and they will feel that, we could do what we want, when we want, how we want, you understand? And, that is the problem that we are facing with right now. Sometimes the councillors just want to feel that they are the members of parliament. And the members of parliament, in some cases, because they have the ear of the prime minister, they feel that, we are better than the others. But that should not be so. But again, we have a lot of issues that we could deal with here. We're talking about crime rate. We are still under the SOE, state of emergency. Right? And I tell you something, it seems as though the criminal elements, they have no respect for state of emergencies. They have no respect, because we are seeing people being killed by the twos and the threes in this country. And it seems as though, you know what, I was thinking this morning, while I was in the mosque, right? I was thinking just about maybe a couple of months back, a couple, a wife and husband, right? One person was a law clerk, I believe, and the other person was working in the ministry. And they were killed in their home in Grandy, right? In Grandy area. I have not heard, I have not seen anything, I have not really and truly gotten any information, whether it be Facebook, media, wherever, national media, local media, nothing. It seems as though that has gone as a cold case, and maybe 5-10 years pass and nobody takes it up. In other countries, you might find people taking it up, but in our country, I don't think that is going to be, lifted again. So that's just like, a passing phase. People are being killed, murder rate and all these things. Imagine this, in our country, Trinidad and Tobago, you all seen what is going on? You all know about mathematics numbers. We're talking about $300 million worth in drugs was seized by the police. Now tell us something, right? Let us be real, let us be honest here. Who is going to keep that $300 million of drugs? Who is going to keep that? Number one question. Number two question is, who is going to pay until that matter? And I don't think they get anybody. Who is going to pay to really and truly ensure that that drugs doesn't go back in the streets of Trinidad and Tobago? Huh? When was the last time Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, under the leadership of those persons who are in authority, whether it be the Minister of National Security, whether it be the Commissioner of Police, whether it be the Prime Minister of the country, would have mandated that all the drugs that has been in custody, in other words, because in Barataria last week, Trinidad and Tobago, let's be real, one officer was held, and right now he is going through the courts because of being maybe in that position whereby he's a suspect of, removing $1 million worth of marijuana from the Barataria police station. Now, who is going to maneuver that? Who is going to go to the police station every so often to take account of all the amount of drugs and guns that is in possession in those very said stations? Who? Let us be real, Trinidad and Tobago. We have to be honest with ourselves. Are you going to say now that the Prime Minister, the United National Congress, the ministers in government, they have to supervise that? You tell me. And then you will blame the government and say, hey, what? The government not working, the government not doing what it's supposed to be doing? Right now, this country, when you look at it, anywhere you turn is dismay. Anywhere you turn, it's a good thing for Diwali and all these things. And when you look at the meaning of Diwali, light conquers darkness. We need that. We need that because the country right now is in a state of darkness. Everywhere you turn, anywhere you turn is basically nobody could ever fulfill. You can't go in any government establishment and really and truly get a service that you could say, well, here what? I went to this place and I got service that I'm very much appreciated of. Whenever you go into any one of these offices, you have to have a godmother or a godfather or a godson or a goddaughter to push things for you. What is happening? What is happening, Commissioner of Police? Right? A new Commissioner of Police. What is happening? We have a man who was on television, right? A man who was on television talking about everything and anything, and now you are in position to make correction, we're not seeing any dent really and truly. You know something? Let us be real. Let us be real. They have to communicate. You see how COVID was every single morning, every single day. The Alsing was on television and they were talking and giving you highlights. This is a pandemic right now in our country. Crime is a pandemic in this country. People are not leaving their homes to go anywhere. We have one businessman. For 1 month now he went missing. That is a person by the name of Imraz Ali. Right? And when you look at the paper trail, a business transaction took place and so forth, and monies were handed over and so forth. We still not hearing anything. We still not seeing anything. We do not know as citizens of this country what really and truly is taking place. The family doesn't even know what is going on. I spoke to one person recently and they said they don't know what's going on. So Trinidad and Tobago, we have to really and truly identify with what is happening in our country and be part and parcel of not only pulling down, but propping up and help and give advice and admonition. We talk about just now, in maybe a week time, the Diwali Nagar, which is a very, very big festival that takes place at the Diwali Nagar side there, right? And I tell you something, the amount of people enter that arena, something has to be done, something's supposed to be done. You can't just send 20 police officers there without a plan and let them go and park up there and watch and watch and watch. That is unacceptable, because that Diwali Nagar really and truly drew the attention of plenty people internationally, locally and so forth. There should be a system in place. There should be a system in place whereby a area should be identified and a shuttle service should be run to take people to and fro. All these things can be thought about. But again, my friends, Trinidad and Tobago, we have to understand that once it doesn't, that is Trinidad, once it doesn't affect me, once I live in, once I am happy, I don't care about the rest. Let's take a break, and when we come back, again, those of you who are calling, use the forum properly. Use the forum properly. I know you have asked to grind with Kamla. I know you have asked to grind with UNC, maybe because you're not getting what you want and so forth. Take your time. Take your time. Step back a little bit, take a deep breath, and wait your turn, because there are many people, because I know one person told me this. They call me and they say, man, I want to call the show. What you want to call the show for? Right? And something, I cut the call because you know what? He's calling to criticize the government, that the government not doing anything for him. First, you have to study what the government going to do for the people collectively, and then study yourself. Be patriotic. Relax yourself. Relax yourself. Your turn will come. Let's support the government. The government is under 5 months. Under 5 months. Let us see what is going on. A budget, the first budget is going to be read. Let us really and truly understand, because when we were in this program here, the government, the PNM government, they read many, many budgets. And the United National Congress, in every nook and corner, every member of parliament was ordered by the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa to have budget debate and consultations and collect information and intels. Right? And that would have been produced by the political leader at that time, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. And nothing changed. And we said it, nothing changed. So don't expect now that the United National Congress is in government, and you all are different, because United National Congress under the leadership of Kamla Prasad Bisesa made it mandatory that all those persons who hold office as parliamentarians, they have to go outside there and find out and do their homework and so forth, and they produce documentation. But when it went into parliament, you understand, you had a man there by the name of, you had a prime minister by the name of Dr. Keith Rowley. And you could stand up and you could say, well, here what, that car is red, and the car is red. And he would tell you no. And he would tell you, no, that is not red. That is because his sun was shining on the vehicle. That was the kind of people that we have to deal with. So you all, Trinidad and Tobago, let's wait. Let's take it step by step. Right? Let's take it step by step. You think the business community in our country right now doing good? You tell me, you think the business community in our country, places like Hardwares, places like the smaller business community, you think they're doing good when it comes to our profit margin? People right now, if you have to rent, Trinidad and Tobago, listen, this is Imam Rashid Karan telling you this. If you have a business and you have to rent, some of the business people should call 372-2129 and tell us how they are paying rent. That is the status quo right now. People are still waiting on the budget, expecting to get a good budget so that maybe they could have a turnaround when it comes to the economy. But there are people outside there, if another budget is read and it is adverse towards the citizens of our country, a lot of businesses are going to be closed. Take that and smoke it in your pipe. And then you're going to understand on this show, you heard exactly what I said. If this budget is read and things like gas goes up, right, and things like wages and all these things, you know, it has increased and increased and increased. You have to ask the question, bottom line, is who is going to pay for those increases? And you know what? It is going to be the business community going to pay for those things, and then the business community is going to raise the prices of their commodity, and then you, the citizens, you see, there's a cycle. You have to understand that. There's a cycle. When the prices go up, you have to pay from your pocket more higher prices for all the commodities. So basically, you know what? You tell yourself you win, but really and truly, you know, you win one thing. We're going to debate that constantly on this program. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to continue. Okay, welcome back to our program, my friends. Those of you who are locked on, today is Saturday in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm sure that many of you are having your lunch at this point in time. I tell you this, Trinidad and Tobago, we are really still fortunate. We are fortunate that, you know, some of us, we could go outside there and buy something and maybe have a lunch. There are places in this very cell world that we are living. There are people who do not know, they have no expectations, they don't know when their next mouthful of food is going to reach them. So give praises and thanks to God Almighty, right? As we continue, we saw a video trending. Director, that is the video with the warden, the traffic warden. Just now, those of you who are locked on, I'm sure that you have seen that video. Maybe you can call and identify so that we can have some sort of communication on that. Put on some volume on that, Director.
Man, pull out back out a beat my watch. Talking for your rights. Talking for your rights. Right. Talking for your rights. The man pull out back out a beat me.
Okay, so those of you who have been watching that video trending on social media, basically, right, I tell you something. Sometimes we see one side of it. We only see one side of the coin. There's many sides of a coin. There's three sides in a coin. There are three sides in a coin, not two, three. We could debate that later on. But what I'm saying is that, do you all know, my friends, who is a traffic warden and what are they supposed to be doing? Let me just give you some information on that so that you will understand carefully Trinidad and Tobago. A traffic warden is a supplementary police officer, because when you look at the duties and things that they perform, basically they are helping the police service. Listen carefully. In Trinidad and Tobago, traffic wardens are appointed officers under the Traffic Warden Service, which falls under the Ministry of Works and Transport. They were introduced to help Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. So basically, they are an arm of the Trinidad and Tobago Police. They were introduced, they were brought in to assist the Trinidad and Tobago, the TTPS. Some of the functions, my friends, those of you who don't know, listen carefully. But I tell you something again, I'm just reading this for you all so you're going to understand, and then we'll have a debate on it. We'll talk about it. Number one, directing and controlling traffic on the nation roads and highways, intersections, etc. Assisting with safe and efficient flow of vehicles and pedestrians. Managing traffic during accidents, breakdowns, roadworks, and special events. Places like in front of schools and so forth, right? Enforcement is very important when it comes to the traffic laws. They are supposed to be issuing fixed penalties, notices or traffic tickets for traffic violations such as illegal parking, obstruction, or stopping and or stopping at prohibited areas. 3. Enforcing traffic-related laws and regulations under the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act. So that is some of the responsibility of traffic warden, right? But I'll tell you something, in many cases, Trinidad and Tobago, some of these people, they now come in the green, I mean the uniform green, the jacket green, they green, and some of these people like this be toting feelings, right? Some of these traffic wardens. Because the manner in which they conduct themselves, that method or attitude that individual draw, that baton, that is the last thing. That is the last thing that should have ever been brought out unless that individual was maybe in a position whereby he knows that he's been threatened with physical harm. You can't come out, pull out that. If you have a firearm, that's the problem with Trinidad and Tobago, you know. They feel that, you know, we have a firearm, we could draw our firearm anytime we want, wherever we want, and scare people and so forth. Let me tell you something. There are many, many good traffic wardens outside there. And there are many, many people outside there who want to compare themselves. They are traffic wardens, but they feel that they are police officers. They have to know the difference. And they have to conduct themselves in a manner like that. I tell you something, it has some police officers, they like pigs. And then it has some police officers, again, my friends, they are gentlemen and gentlewomen. We have to understand these things, that when you are holding a public office, especially in the protective service, in the penal system, whether it be in the medical fraternity, whether it be in any sphere or anywhere when it comes to public dealings, not because you have an office, right, and you hold a position, you could talk to people like how you feel you want to talk to them. And that is where the problem comes, you know. If you tell somebody, you know, you start to approach people in a nice, gentle manner, people don't retaliate negatively. It's only when you start, you know, being a bully, in other words, a bully in uniform, then those things happen. So I'm sure we only seen a part of the video, right? There are other things, and maybe people could say, that is the reason why when people see, you know, atrocities and they see things happening, they could come outside there and be debate the issue whether, you know, it is the truth or it is falsehood. And that is how we're going to really and truly benefit. But a lot of people today, a lot of things is happening in our country. A lot of things is happening. Now, let me just give you a little prelude. We are in October, November and December. That's about 3 months before Christmas. And you know what is going to happen? Tell you all what is going to happen. Containers is going to be stuck on the port. And people is going to get containers. Christmas goods is going to come when? In January, February for Carnival. People have to understand our system. You can be talking to a standard 1 student and talk highfalutin like as though you are speaking to a student who is going to the university. You have to understand that. You have to, you know, be psychometric in the sense that you watch this person, look at his countenance and see how he conducted himself, and then you could speak to him in that manner. The point I'm making is that year in, year out is the same problem when it comes to the port. I'm just giving you a little hint. So those of you who have, you know, the ideas of bringing in containers and so forth, right, and you expect the containers to be cleared in time for the Christmas season so that you could be able to generate back your investment, some of you have to really and truly plan ahead. If you know your goods is not perishable, bring it 6 months in front. Because same old is going to happen. Another thing I want to talk about, so Trinidad and Tobago, I want to tell you all about something that happened to me recently. And it happened on a regular basis. Those persons who are in the banking system, right? Those of you who are on the TikTok live, you're listening, maybe you could join me, you could text and say what you think is and I couldn't read it. It is for me or against me. I'm going to read it. But I had to do a reset, a password reset, right? And tell you something. It took me about 60 minutes, 3 or 4 times on that phone. I waited 16 minutes in the first occasion, and then the phone just cut off. Bam. Right? I call again. Then they tell you, you know what they said? Leave your information. They're going to call you back. 1 whole day pass, and they never call you. Now, the point I am making, Trinidad and Tobago, we have people who in finance, people who oversee the financial aspect of the life and of our citizens in our country. Every citizen of this country should be allocated a certain amount of U.S. foreign exchange. Right? Every citizen, whether you are a beggar, whether you are a businessman, whether you are a housewife, whether you are a teacher, whether you are a student in the sense of a mature age, you should be granted that. You should be granted a certain amount, whether it be a $500 or $1,000 when it comes to foreign exchange. But that is something that you cannot see that on a blue Falcock. I tell you that. And you know something? The hard part about it, I want you all Trinidad and Tobago to know this. The hard part about it is that people have to go around by Tom, Dick, and Harry in our country to gather 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, 500 so that they can pay for their container of goods. Listen carefully. And in many cases, it's not no $7.50. It's $8 and more they're paying because they still had to give the person, whoever credit card they're using, they had to give them something. Whether it be a toy for their children, whether it be a gift, whether it be a dinner date, whatever, they have to do it. So when you look at it, these people are paying $8 when it comes to conversion rate to purchase items to bring into this country. And the hard part about it, you know, there's no stipulation whether your container will be cleared this week or next week or the following week. There's no deadline date on anything. Because there are people outside there, they have their containers in the port and it take 2 weeks and then they had to pay and they had to pay and they had to pay. Hey, Trinidad and Tobago, let's be real. Things has to be straight. Now I talk about the reset of the password. That's a simple thing. The banking system should have a line or they should have somewhere or some number to call only for that purpose. To reset a password does normally take, you know how long? Maybe about a minute and a half for the most. A minute and a half, say 2 minutes for the most. But you know, when you go across there and your line get tied up and you have to talk about something else and they want paper reel and they want to make an appointment and they're using the same kind of PBX, right? No changes taking place. You know what? Sometimes Trinidad and Tobago, just to do a reset, a password reset, it takes 2 and 3 hours. And you cannot call no bank. Whether it be Shogunas, if you're living in Shogunas, or if you're living in San Fernando, or you're living in Port of Spain, all the calls is transferred to someone of those PBX there, and from there they dispatch. So you all don't know what is going on. There's a big system of frustration that takes place in our country. And you know who take that pressure? The business community outside here. Sometimes you go in a supermarket and you see things and you say, hey, this man, yes, but you don't know the kind of pressure that man is going through to get the foreign exchange, to bring the goods here. And when it comes in our country, there's a fight down with pricing. People working for next to nothing in our country to ensure that, you know what, their business survive in this country. Again, my friends, I want to thank you all very, very much. I want to ask you all, those of you who are locked on, to share this video. Let people understand that this program is Hard Facts, where we debate, where we talk about issues. We talk about issues that is affecting us. It is premature at this point in time. People watching, like for example, last week, on the Facebook pages, social media, people asking why Kamala have to carry a hairdresser. Why she have to do this, and why she have to do that. Now the problem is too much of people running when they do nothing in Facebook, and they highlighting nothing. Issues that has to be highlighted should be relevant. Kamala dress costs $30,000, as some people would say. Now, I would have, if I was the Prime Minister, I would just brush that off. I don't have to answer to that because the last time when she was the Prime Minister, they talk about she shoes. $150,000 in shoes and this, that, and the next. There are people outside here. Let me tell you something. when I was growing up, right, Trinidad and Tobago, I want you all to listen to this. There was a Clark's, and that time Trinity was Trin City Mall was a banging mall. And there was a Clark's shoe that I wanted to buy. And I went in that store maybe 5 or 6 times to buy that. And every time I take it up and I look the price, 700, 799, 825, 850, 900, and the price going up, going up, going up. And I putting it down, putting it down, putting it down. But I really wanted that shoes. And lo and behold, I got it as a gift. I got it as a gift. But the point that I'm making, you all don't know, if Kamala want to buy, the Honorable Prime Minister of our country wants to buy a dress for 30,000, but I tell you something, she looked damn good in the dress. Huh? She looked stunning. She looked good in that dress. Right? So who vexed lost? But the point I'm making is if I was the Prime Minister, you talk, you bark. Let barking dog bark and sleeping dog lie. Not everything you have to respond and answer. Because I tell you something, sometimes all they want to do, the media, individuals in media, they just want to choke a Japanese and get a sporty moment coming from you. The time you get angry up here, better stay quiet. Anytime you get angry in your mind, up in your skull, in your head here, you don't say anything, just stay quiet. Let them feel they win. Because in the long and short, you cannot win the media. That's number one. And number two, you cannot win the police. So these are two entities you don't have no war with. You don't fight the media and you don't fight the police. Trinidad and Tobago, Imam Rashid Karim is telling you that. Because those two battles, you're going to lose, you're going to lose, you're going to lose. Let's take our final break, and when we come back, we are going to continue on our program. I want to say a special hello to my partner there, Donald Samuj, resident, a citizen of America, New York. He came to my establishment during the course of the week there, and said, he told me, Imam, I resign now. And I told him, maybe you could come back and maybe you could come and make a debut on the show. And you could tell me what is taking place, what has transpired, and what you noticed from that time you left Trinidad until this time. So maybe I'm giving him some time to really and truly allow, his family relationship to really sink in. And then maybe next week program, I'm going to invite him. So this is a prelude. Maybe next week for our show, our guest is going to be a retired patriot of America when it comes to the military. I can't recall what rank he resigned at, but all those information he's going to give you. But in that small conversation that we had, you know what he told me? He said, Imam, I'm really, really dissatisfied, right, in the manner which the immigration authorities of Trinidad and Tobago, when it comes to citizens coming into the country and so forth, how they treat people at that point, the point of entry in our country. We can talk about that when he comes in. So again, my friends, Trinidad and Tobago is your country. We have to live here. We have to work here. The government in power right now is the United National Congress. It makes no sense. It makes no sense that you attacking in a manner that will really and truly indicate their failure. The government is new in office. They need time to really and truly develop and understand the relationship that they are going to have with the permanent secretaries and all those people. You might think, I'll tell you something, you might feel, when a government change, the government will change everything tomorrow. Hey, let me tell you something. You all don't know. The permanent secretaries in all those ministries, they remain there. And if they have a good relationship with their past, and the people have a good relationship, they are going to really and truly maintain that status. That's the reason why, you have to be very mindful of how you communicate with your permanent secretaries and so forth. Then you're going to get really and truly, the windows are going to open for you, and the information is going to be really and truly disseminated properly to you. Right? Because I tell you something, the minister in any one of those entities, whether it's national security, whether it's health, whether it's finance, wherever they may be, it goes through the office. There's a channel that it goes through, and the permanent secretary of that ministry, they will understand, they will dissect, they have their committees, they have their board, they have their executive and so forth, and they will review and review and review, and then they will produce a document now to the Prime Minister or those persons who are in charge of the different ministries. Right? So again, you have to understand that the Minister of Health or the Minister of this or the Minister of that, they don't have 100% control over everything. Right? They don't have that control over everything overnight. It takes time. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to continue. Okay, so my friends, welcome back to our last segment in this program, Hard Facts, that is aired Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, starting time 12:15 in the afternoon. In today's program, my friends, we have discussed a lot of things. We spoke about the Dragon gas deal, and you know something, I mentioned this, Director, you could pull up that for me now, right? Where the Prime Minister is speaking about the Dragon gas so that the citizens of our country could really and truly understand carefully. You know, that is a live wire at this point in time for the citizenry of this country, Trinidad and Tobago. Pull up that video for me.
What I'm pushing, really pushing hard, is against the criminals, the narco-traffickers, the human traffickers, the gun runners, the criminals. So we have nothing against the people of Venezuela. I've repeatedly said we stand in solidarity with the people of Venezuela.
The Prime Minister, responding to questions regarding her recent meeting with United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the OFAC license to operate the Dragon gas deal.
He said that he had approved the OFAC license. I think we both understood the urgency of the matter. So that is one step in a two-step process that we have to go through. The second step would be our license with Venezuela.
Mrs. Posad-Bissessar has made it clear that Trinidad and Tobago will continue to work with Venezuela.
I am told that we had a 30-year license from Venezuela, but of course, given all that has transpired, we will have some more negotiations with Venezuela. Shell is involved in that project, and indeed I'm meeting Mr. Lomax from Shell in a short while to see what progress they have made. Before this happened with the United States, Shell had gone to Venezuela. They had discussions with Madam Delcy about the license, and well, I want to get updates from him as well, because Shell will have to speak with officials in Venezuela.
The Prime Minister said she is yet to officially reach out to Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro, but will do so in the near future. She said, however, she is still in support of the U.S. intervention.
In fact, since that has happened, you would have seen that the amount of murders in my own country has fallen, the numbers. That might be partly because of that, and the other part would be, of course, the state of emergency that we have in place, which has not disrupted lives except the lives of criminals.
Okay, so Trinidad and Tobago, very, very important information that is being shared on this program, Hard Facts. I don't want to let you all know, my friends, that we have to have a checklist, we have to have a watch list And we have to understand clearly, as I said, I highlighted it today. And maybe those of you who are interested outside there, I'm extending invitation for you all. If you would like to be a guest on this program, Hardfacts, you can call me at 3722129 or 3085318. Maybe you can set up an appointment to be in the show, whether it be during the week or on weekend. No problem, right? But we have to really and truly have a checklist. You know, the Prime Minister stated a lot of things there, right? She even said that because of the intervention of the U.S. in the Caribbean waters and so forth, that had made a dent in the criminal activities in our country. That could be possible because I tell you something, first time in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, you know, $314 million of drugs was seized. So that's a big dent when it comes to crime, when it comes to criminal elements and so forth. Now I'll tell you something, she mentioned OFAC. That's a license status and formal expiry extension, because I tell you something notable, the month of October 31st, 2025 was the early expiry date, and basically the Prime Minister was there at the United Nations functions that they had there, the debates and consultations and so forth, and the government of America, US, they have given the assurance of maybe renewal of that contract for the Dragon Gas deals, number one. We have to understand, as I told you all, that there is a company called ConocoPhillips, and they have some sort of litigation, court development when it comes to Venezuela. When we look at the third aspect of it, there is Shell. Shell have to be the major playing factor in that, and then the diplomatic development between US and Trinidad and Venezuela, right? We have to be very, very mindful, and as I said in the opening remarks of this program, there's a lot of ministers outside there. You know, we could do without that kind of embarrassment, because in one breath, you have people in your government, in the government of the United National Congress political party, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, making statements and really and truly, you know what, they are eroding communication with Venezuela at this point in time. Now the Prime Minister is making the clarion call and stating that she is willing to head that delegation. I also saw that the Honorable Rudal Munilal, he's also willing to be part of that consultation and delegation to go to Venezuela and so forth. Nothing is wrong with that, but you have to really and truly, you know, you have to put a muzzle, Madam Prime Minister, when it comes to your ministers making, you know, statements like what we are seeing on the social media, right? Because the world is seeing it, and you know, that really and truly is not diplomatic at this point in time. So all those individuals who are in government, really and truly, they have to speak with one voice. The Prime Minister cannot speak on a matter and then the subordinates or the junior ministers in different ministries, they're coming out and speaking differently, not the same tongue, not the same words, and not the same, you know, the correlations of what is taking place. Really and truly, my friend, has to be coincide with what the Prime Minister of the country is dictating and stating. So again, my friends, those of you who are locked on, I want to thank you all very, very much. For those of you who are calling the program, be very careful, because we had to cut two callers when we asked them the reason why you all call in, and they call in here to, don't call to criticize the government yet. Let the government breathe. Let the government start doing things. Watch what the government doing. Don't talk about you calling me to tell me about this MP and that MP, and we not, hey, stop there. I mean, I'm not going to highlight that. I'm not going to highlight that. And this is not the Mobilang programs. This is a program of patriotism where we're going to build the country and not break the country up apart. Not divide, nothing racial, nothing tribal. We try to bring people together with one goal in mind, to lift the status quo of our country, locally and internationally. That is what I'm here for. So my friends, thank you all very much. May God Almighty bless you all, keep you all safe. Until next week, we are going to be here, inshallah, and we ask you all to join with me. And if you all would like to communicate with me during the week, you can call 3085318, or you can call 3722129. Send messages to those numbers, and I will respond to you. I will call you back, and we can have some communication. Thank you all very much, and may God Almighty bless Trinidad and Tobago.